Good morning, this is John Lynch of Lynch Solicitors with another one of our COVID-19 videos. Today I'd like to deal with wills in two parts. First of all, why and when rather than why should you make a will. The why is you should make a will because it's the right thing to do. It sets out in detail what you want done. And if you don't make a will, you're left to the vagaries of the law as to how everything would be dealt with. But in any event, when should you make a will? Well, first of all, I would say you should make one now, but there are kind of certain life events that would trigger a kind of a good intention or a good plan or a good idea that you should make a will. One is that if you become owner of property, you're suddenly a property owner, or you become owner of an asset, or you become involved in a business, or you inherit cash, or you inherit anything, or you win the lotto, or whatever, anything that would have a dramatic change in your financial circumstances. Under those circumstances, it is always a good idea to make a will so that you can decide how that might be addressed. The other one, obvious one, is that if you change your status, so in other words, if you come of age, if you get married, if you separate, if you divorce, anything like that, a change of status would require, or not would require, but it is advisable that you make a will. The other one, which is fairly common, is that if you're going abroad or if you're involved in something that might be somewhat dangerous. Going abroad isn't necessarily dangerous, but if you're going to travel or if you're involved in a very active sport, or if you're taking on some risky adventure or whatever, in those circumstances, it's always a good idea to make a will. The other one is buying a house. You know, when you buy a house, you should make a will so that if you have an interest in the property, that you can determine where that goes. If you have children, for example, that's a change in circumstances, and that change in circumstances should prompt you making a will. The other thing is if and when the children come of age, that's another change in circumstances that should be reflected in a review of your will. If you retire, getting older, and if you're in a retirement situation, again, you should make a will. But the overriding consideration here is that you should regularly review your will. So a will is not cast in stone, and it is changeable. So like your life circumstances, your will should reflect your life circumstances. And if there's any required change, or if there's any change in your circumstances, that should be reflected in you making a will. Thank you for listening to me. This is John Lynch of Lynch Solicitors.